production. What is happening? Okay. So in case of production, as I said, production chapter is actually divided in two parts, short run and long run. So this first one is general concept about the production function. You know, it is the technical relation between the production, that is the output, and the setup input. And here the technology is given. So in general, the production function is like Q function of LK. Okay. So then this is the general production function. There may be different types of specific type of production functions, but it is the general form. So short run, in the short run, as you know, in the short run, capital cannot be changed. So in that case, your production function will be a function of only labor. So capital is fixed there. And in the long run, all production factors are variable. So this is actually the production function for the long run, and this is the specific production function for the short run. So here the short run, two new concepts are the average product and the marginal product. Average means the total quantity divided by total labor employed, because it is the average product of labor. And marginal product of labor is del Q del L, the change in output produced by the change in labor. Now there comes one law, the law of diminishing marginal physical return. It is actually explaining the marginal product curve. The total shape of the marginal product curve, it is initially increasing, then at the maximum, and then after it is falling and becoming negative. So this is the law. This is your total product curve. And this is the average product, and this is the marginal product curve. So if you can draw the set is like this. The first diagram is for the total product, the second diagram is the average product, and here comes the marginal product. So here comes the final diagram in the short run. So this is the set of the short run curves: total product, average product, and marginal product. Now based on that, you can get first stage of production, second stage of production, and third stage of production. In first stage, your average product is increasing. So that means if you are producing more and more, if you are employing more labor, then your average return is increasing, and that is encouraging you to produce more. So that is why producer cannot produce in stage one, and that because of this increasing APL, he is moving to stage two. In stage two, the average product of labor is falling, and MPL is also falling at the faster rate. And what about stage 3? In stage 3, your MPL is negative. So producers are not interested to be in the stage 2. So producers are in the stage 2. Producers are not interested to produce in stage 3. So where they will produce, they will be in stage 2 in short run. Okay. So what is the property of the stage 2? Average product is falling, marginal product is falling. Marginal product is falling at the faster rate than the average product. This is the relation between APL and MPL, mathematical relation. MPL is the short run, because sometimes the long run, okay, these points are there. Now here comes the long run. So tell me if you have any problem with the short run production. Ask me, I will explain, then I will go to the long run part. If you have any problem with the short run production, anything, you can ask me.
Ma'am, I had a problem not regarding the unit, but in general, if we get long answer questions for about 4 marks or 6 marks, how much are we supposed to write in those cases?
It depends. Just give me an example of the long question, then I can give you the answer.
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute. Just a minute. Ma'am, like in the paper of 2001, there is a question distinguish between returns to a variable factor and returns to scale, and it has come for 4 marks. So, how much are we supposed to write in this case?
Okay. First of all, it is just the difference, write the difference type of question. So the first, at least 4 marks, 4 points you have to write because it is the 4 marks question. The first point is definition. The second point is short run, long run. Returns to scale is a short run, long run, and returns to a variable factor is a short run concept. Then you can write the types. Returns to scale is of 3 types. In case of returns to a variable factor, there is no such type. And the fourth one, what to write in case of the fourth one? At least 4 points should be there. Any idea about the fourth point? Fourth difference?
Ma'am, the factor proportion.
Yes, yes, yes. That may be. That may be the fourth one. Okay. So this is how at least 4 points. It depends on the marks.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, also the question that you did yesterday, like the relation between the returns to scale and the long run cost curve. So, in that question actually came for 8 marks. So, for 8 marks, how much are we supposed to
You have
write?
to
Like,
draw. You have to draw in that case.
okay, ma'am. So we
A
draw and
diagram,
we.
a diagram has a maximum of 2 marks.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
the remaining 6 marks for the analysis or the
For
explanation.
the we just explain it mathematically and give the reasoning along with it.
Look, for any question, what is the sequence? If you, first of all, if any specific terminology, you can define it. The first thing. The second one, when you are going to give the answer, try to explain it logically first. With your economics knowledge, try to explain it logically. Then comes diagram, and then comes mathematics. Okay,
Okay,
because
ma'am.
mathematics is not as such related with economics, no? Because anyone can do the differentiation, anyone can find the value. So this is how the least weight is given on mathematics. The best one is to explain it logically. But it may be like this, that there is no such logic, no such diagram. You know only the mathematics. So in that case, use mathematics first. But generally, the sequence is logic, diagram, mathematics.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other question? Actually, in 2000 or 2001, this type of different sort of questions, these were coming. And at that time, what the students are doing, they have just divided in 2 parts. Just the difference, you are writing difference, na? Short run, long run. You have done a lot of difference writing in your school level. What you did, just make a scale, just keep your scale in between the between on the page, and make a line, vertical line. You are dividing the page in 2 parts, and like, this is yes, this is not, this is right, this is wrong. It's like that. So that type of question used to come at that time, but now this is not coming. No different sort of question is coming. You have to compare, you have to explain, you have to distinguish. So there now, there is no scope to use this skill in that sense. But anyway, everything is depending on marks, which type of question is coming, what is the full marks. To give the answer, first check the full marks, then decide how much to write. Because you may know a lot about the topic, but maybe the full marks is 2. So you are wasting your time. So this is the short run. I'm going to the long run. Now, in case of the long run, as I said, in the long run, both factors of productions are variable. So this is the production function for the long run. In long run, we have a new concept of isoquant. So isoquant is very similar to our indifference curve. Here the equation is Q bar. That means the total quantity produced is constant. And it is a combination of labor and capital, so that total output level is constant or fixed. Huh? So this is isoquant. It is very easy to remember the name, because iso means the same and quant is the short form of quantity. The same quantity. Now slope of the isoquant, this is the derivation of the mathematical. As you know, this is just the mathematical derivation. It's minus of MPL by MPK, and only that MPL by MPK is known as MRTS, MRPT, marginal rate of product, that marginal rate of technical substitution. Okay, MRTS, marginal rate of technical substitution, is equal to MPL by MPK. Okay, so the absolute value of the slope of the isoquant is known as MRTS, MRTS LK or MRTS. So this is the thing. MRTS LK is MPL by MPK. Now the property is very similar to the indifference curve. But in case of indifference curve, for the normal good, indifference curve is always negatively sloped. But in case of isoquant, it is quite possible that isoquant is positively sloped, because if any of the marginal product is negative, then the line is becoming positively sloped, because the slope is minus MPL by MPK. Na? So if any of the numerator or denominator is negative, then the slope is becoming positive. But in case of indifference curve, it was not like this. If the commodity is bad, then only the marginal utility is negative. In general, it is not possible, but here it is quite possible. Otherwise, all the properties are similar. Now, this is another new concept, elasticity of substitution. It is the percentage change in capital labor ratio due to percentage change in MRTS LK. Okay, so you can write it. The percentage change means D K by L divided by K by L. So you can write it D log K by L. Because if I differentiate the log value, then it will be the value divided by the D of this divided by this value. So this is how you can write it. Huh? And the denominator is also D log MRTS, which is D MRTS by MRTS. Okay. So this is the definition of elasticity of substitution. That means if the MRTS is changing, if MPL by MPK is changing, how the capital labor employed is changing. Elasticity of substitution is measuring this. Now the next one is to scale, our very known returns to scale. It is the thing when the factors are changing by a certain proportion, then how the output is changing. So if it is changing by the constant amount, then IRS. If output is changing by more than the change in inputs, then it is increasing returns to scale. And if the output is changing less than change in inputs, then it is called decreasing returns to scale. The output may increase, output may decrease, depending on the increase and decrease of the factors of production. So in case of increase, these things are there in Pindyck and Rubenfeld. All the diagrams are there. Here what is happening, I have changed input, labor and capital by 100%. That is 2 to 4, 5 to 10. So here the output is increased by more than 100%, right? Double, more than double. Because look, 10 to 20, this level of output is here. But if I can draw any isoquant from this point, and twice of 10. It may be 40 or 45 like this. So this is the case of increasing returns to scale. If I change my inputs by 100%, that means if I increase my inputs double, then my output will increase more than double, maybe 3 or 4 times. The next one is the constant returns to scale. Here, when I am increasing labor and capital by 100%, then my output is also increased by 100%. 5 to 10, 2 to 4, and here output is also 10 to 20. So just double. And in case of decreasing, you can understand It is not possible to get the double output if I increase my inputs by double. This is decreasing returns to scale. The reason behind the decreasing returns to scale is diseconomies of scale. And in case of increasing returns to scale, the reason is economies of scale. And there is no such economies or diseconomies of scale in case of constant returns to scale. Now, this is a particular type of production function known as Cobb-Douglas production function. So if you have the Cobb-Douglas, this is the general form of the Cobb-Douglas production function, alpha plus alpha, L to the power alpha, K to the power beta. So here, if you change labor and capital by lambda proportion, then your new output is lambda to the power alpha by beta. That will change by lambda to the power alpha by beta, alpha is beta. Now, if alpha plus beta is equal to 1, then new output is also changed by lambda proportion. So that means then we have CRS. If it is greater than 1, then output will change more than the change in input. So this is IRS or it is DRS. So we can use a single production function which can show us returns to scale depending on the value of alpha and beta. So here again, I am using the Cobb-Douglas production function to find out the elasticity of substitution, and here it is actually. Look, this is the formula of elasticity of substitution. So I am finding the value here, and it is becoming 1. So for any type of Cobb-Douglas production function, it may be CRS, IRS, DRS, whatever it is, the elasticity of substitution is always 1. Okay, this is the property of this type of production function. Now there is economic and non-economic zone of production. How we are getting that? At this point, look, initially my isoquant is convex to origin, the normal shape. But after this point, it is becoming positively sloped. So just at this point, what happened? At this point, MPL is 0. Then after MPL is negative. So then the line is becoming positive, and the producer is deviated from the labor line. Okay, the production function is production process is deviated from the labor. So then after MPK is negative, so the isoquant is deviating capital axis. So this is how you are getting the economic zone of production. So non-economic zone, you can understand either MPL is negative or MPK is negative. So the areas are not accepted by the producers. So producers are only interested about the economic zone of production where the isoquant are convex and downward sloping. So the lines who are dividing this economic zone from the non-economic zones, this is called the lower and upper ridge lines. This is the lower ridge line and this is the upper ridge line. So what is the property of the lower ridge line? Along the lower ridge line, MPL is equal to 0, and along the upper ridge line, MPK is equal to 0. Achha. If you have any question up to this point, you can ask. Kono proshno ache?
Ma'am, can you repeat the convex one?
Which one? Convex?
Yes, ma'am, the graph, like, please explain that graph, like, downward sloping and upward sloping and convex.
This one?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
So, okay. The slope is minus MPL by MPK. That we derived. The slope of isoquant is minus MPL by MPK. And you know, generally the producers are interested to produce in second stage of production. So what is happening in second stage of production? MPL is positive. And the same thing for MPK. So in general, MPL and MPK, these are positive. So the ratio is minus of 2 positive ratio. So that means the ratio is a negative one. Minus of MPL by MPK, this is a negative one. So you are getting negatively sloped line. Now the thing is why it is convex. Convex is because of the reason behind the convexity is the law of diminishing marginal return. If you can remember again that stage 2, when you are employing more and more labor in stage 2, your MPL is falling, right? So here, if you are moving from here to here, that means you are employing more labor, so your MPL is falling and your MPK is increasing because you are reducing capital employment. Huh? So what is happening with MPL by MPK? The ratio is falling, right? So it is negatively sloped. First of all, it is negative. The value is negative. The slope is negative. But the value is falling if you are moving from here to here. So as it is falling, how to show that fall? It will be convex. Because if it is convex and you are moving from here to here, the slope is falling. And what is the slope? Minus of MPL by MPK. And why MPL is falling? Because you are employing more labor and there is law of diminishing marginal factor. Okay. So this is how, yes.
No, ma'am, you continue, continue.
Okay. So this is the thing. This is the thing for the diminishing and the convex shape of your isoquant. Now the question is why it is upward rising. You know, when the stage 2 ends and stage 3 has started, at this point your MPL is 0. So when your MPL is 0, what about your slope of the isoquant? Minus of MPL by MPK, your numerator is 0 now. So 0 by something is 0. So now the slope of isoquant is 0. Okay. And then after, when your MPL is negative, the ratio is becoming positive. So the slope is positive because it is again minus MPL by MPK. MPL is negative now. So the ratio is positive. That means your isoquant is positively sloped. So from here it is becoming positively sloped. What about this point? At this point your MPK is 0. Okay, because you are employing more and more and more of capital. So your MPK is falling and falling and falling. At this point it becoming 0. And then after your MPK is negative. Again, the same with the same logic, your isoquant is becoming positively sloped. Okay. So what is the importance of this point and this point? From this point, the slope is changing. Initially, it is negatively sloped. Now it is becoming positively sloped. So that is the importance of this point. And at the same time, at this point, MPK is equal to 0. At this point, MPL is equal to 0. Okay. So along this line, along this yellow line, either on the upper yellow line, your MPK is 0. And along the lower yellow line, your MPL is equal to 0. So these lines are called the ridge lines. Okay. So ridge line is differentiating the normal shape of the isoquant with the abnormal shape of isoquant. The abnormal portion is called the non-economic zone. As it is MPK is 0, producer is not interested to go there. So that is why non-economic. And here also MPL is negative. So producer is not interested to come here. So these two areas are non-economic. In between two non-economic, in between two ridge lines, you have the economic zone where MPL and MPK both are positive. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So this is the thing. Any other question? But this is just the explanation of this line. MPL is 0, so DKDL, that is the slope. You know that slope is DKDL is minus of MPL by MPK. That becomes 0. And if MPK is 0, DKDL is infinite. Okay. Now this is an exercise which we did. This is another type of production function with CRS. Okay. CRS is a group actually. CRS means constant returns to scale. Different type of production functions are possible inside with the property of CRS. This is a special type of production function. This is called the minimum coefficient production function. So here, actually here, L by K and K by B is like this. So Q is minimum of L by K and K by B. Which one is minimum? Q is equal to that. So if L by A is less than K by B, then Q is equal to L by A. If L by A is greater than K by B, then Q is equal to K by B. Which one is minimum? Q is equal to that value. So here actually what happened, L and K, they are perfect substitute. Sorry, perfect complement. They are perfect complement. If you can remember, in case of our consumer behavior also, we have this type of utility function. And in that case, two commodities are perfect complement. The L-shaped indifference curve was there. So here also, if you want to draw isoquant for this type of production function, you will get L-shaped isoquant. So anyway, here we are deriving the total product. It is the shape of the average product of labor. This is the total product curve. It is the marginal product and average product. And look at the isoquant. As I said, the isoquant is like this. It is L-shaped. Along the horizontal stretch, MPL is equal to 0. Along the vertical stretch, MPK is equal to 0. Okay? Because you can understand, for this type of isoquant, if which one is minimum, Q is equal to that. So given this, if you change another factor continuously, your output will not change. Because say L by A is less than K by B. Then Q is equal to L by A. Okay. Now given this, if you are just increasing K by K, say from 10 to 12, 12 to 15, 15 to 17, 17 to 20 like this, so that will not affect your Q, because your Q is equal to L by A. So marginal product of capital in that case is equal to 0. MPK is 0. Whatever change you can do with your capital, it will not influence the output level, because capital is not the part of the output at that time. So you can understand, you have to use capital and labor by a certain proportion, and that proportion is the king point of the isoquant. Okay, so this is the expansion part. If you can draw isoquant, this is the expansion path actually joining all the king points. Okay, so this is the case. If you just go through all those slides, you can understand. Just read it carefully. All the problems are solved already. And this is the question I did yesterday. So this is all about the production I did in my class. Tell me any problem from the production. If you have any model question or some specific question, from anywhere, you can ask me. Okay, before that, tell me, did you receive the questions which I uploaded in LMS? Have you checked it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is available, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So keep practicing. Now tell me, do you have any problem from the production chapter?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then I'm going to the cost. Yes, this is the cost part. So again, the cost is also, before dividing the cost chapter in short run and long run, there are different type of costs. So these are accounting cost, which is not actually needed for us. Economic cost, whether the farm is utilizing all factors of productions, and it has also the part of opportunity cost. You know what is opportunity cost. Sunk cost, as I said, sunk cost means once you did the cost, once you spend the money for the thing, then it is done. Okay, you cannot recover the money. So this is called the sunk cost. You know the meaning of sunk. So once you have done, the done. Fixed cost is independent of the output level, and variable cost is dependent on the output level. If output is 0, variable cost is also 0. Total cost is a sum total of the fixed and the variable cost. These are the different type of cost. So again, we are dividing the cost in two parts, short run and long run. So in the short run, there are concepts similar to the production chapter. Marginal cost, the change in total cost divided by change in total output. Average cost, it is the total cost divided by output produced. Average variable cost is the total variable cost divided by output produced. And average fixed cost is the total fixed cost divided by output produced. Okay. So these are the part of the short run cost. Now these are some relationship. I did a lot of mathematical derivation of these relationships, some here and some just end of this chapter. Actually, I have given all sort of relationship. How can you get the relationship? How can you prove the relationship mathematically? I did that. I can't remember any other relationship except all this. So, and this is the thing, you know, that total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus variable cost. So if you divide both sides by Q, then you can get average cost is equal to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Okay, so this is the relationship between the total cost and so among the average cost components. So here comes the curve. This is the fixed cost, which is independent of the output level. As I said, variable cost will start from the origin. When Q is 0, variable cost is also 0. And when it is increasing like this. Total cost is the sum total of VC and FC. So you are getting TC. It will start from the fixed cost point. Your total cost will not start from the origin. It must have some vertical intercept, and that intercept is the fixed cost. So this is the shape of your AFC. I derived it. This is the fixed cost. If you just make this point, the tan of this value is falling, so your AFC is also falling. The shape of your AVC. AVC, this is the relationship between the APL and AVC. Sometimes the questions may come like this. What is the relationship? How to derive the AVC from APL? So this is how you can derive. AVC is nothing but W by APL. So as your APL curve is inverted U-shaped, so your AVC curve is U-shaped. Because there is an inverse relationship, W is given to us. So this is your AVC. This is the minimum of the AVC called Q1. Now here comes the derivation of AC curve, mathematical as well as diagrammatic derivation. So the relation is AC is equal to AVC plus AFC. So if I just differentiate both sides by Q, then I can get it, this thing, and then the sign of the left hand side is depending on the value of Q. Now if Q is less than Q1, that means you are here. If Q is less than Q1, that means you are here. Then AFC is less than, this is true. This portion is always there because this is always negative. But the AVC is changing. Before Q, del AVC del Q is less than 0. At Q1, del AVC del Q is equal to 0. After Q1, del AVC del Q is greater than 0 according to the diagram. And depending on that, my AC is also changing. So AC curve is also U-shaped. Sometimes the question is coming that why minimum of AC is to the right of the minimum of AVC. The answer is this is because of the AFC. AFC is continuously falling. So when AVC has just started to increase, the strength of falling AFC is more than the strength of increasing AVC. That is why the AC is falling. But after some time, when AVC has increased to a significant level, the AVC is becoming more powerful. There is a slope is more actually. So in that case, AC is starting increasing. That is why the minimum of AC is always to the right of the minimum of AVC. And this is MC. Again, the relationship between MC and MPL is this. Again, the inverse relationship. So you can understand your MC will be U-shaped. The relation between AC and MC, another mathematical relation. You have to derive your VC. So VC plus FC is equal to Q into SC. So if you differentiate with respect to Q, you will get this. So you already discussed this portion. And do you have any query up to all these mathematics? This is a little bit boring. So if you have any query for this mathematical portion of the short run cost curve, you can ask me. Do you have any problem with any of those slides? You can just stop me and ask. This is the first part of the cost. This is the end. If you have any problem, just ask me. I'm just showing the last part of the curve. AFC curve, this is always downward sloping, as you know, because fixed cost is a fixed factor independent of the quantity produced. And AVC is U-shaped, AC is also U-shaped, and AMC is always intersecting AC and AVC at their minimum points. Okay, so AMC is U-shaped, but it is intersecting AVC and AC at their minimum points and becoming upward rising then after. Okay, so this is the set of the short run cost curves. Now tell me your problem from the short run cost. কিছু কি প্রবলেম আছে?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So there are again some relationship between AVC. Maybe some repetitions are also there, huh? But I just want to give as much as possible the relationships. The idea about the relationship mathematically, so that if the questions will come, you can give the answer, at least mathematically. If any such question is coming, say the question is like that, what is the relationship between AVC and MC, and the question is around 3 to 4 marks. First of all, you have to draw the diagram. The AVC, this is normal U-shaped. The MC is also U-shaped, but it is intersecting AVC at their minimum, at the minimum of the AVC. Draw it and then show this relation, and then derive this relation. That will be all. Just define. First of all, you have to draw AVC, then you draw MC, then explain that both curves are U-shaped, but MC must intersect AVC at its minimum point. Now, let me explain the relationship mathematically and then do this point. That will be fine for 3 to 4 marks answer. Okay. Someone is asking question. কেউ কি কিছু লিখলো? না, সবাই মন দিয়ে রোল নাম্বার লিখেছে। ওকে,
Ma'am, can you give an example of sunk cost?
yes, sunk cost means, say you want to produce you want to produce, say you want to produce SIM card of mobile phone. Okay, so that is why you just purchased a sophisticated machine which can produce that SIM card. Okay, and after 6 months or 7 months, you think that the company is giving you loss, so it's better to stop production, and you stop. Fine. What to do with that machine? If there is someone who is coming to you and asking to sell that machine, then it's good. Otherwise, what to do with that machine? There is no use. But you can sell your factory shed. You can lease the land of your factory. But what to do with that particular machine? It has no other use. Now it is becoming a scrap. You can sell it to someone.
Ma'am, as you said that land can be given out for rent. So, like I can give this machine out to someone and charge something.
Yes,
Like,
if there is someone, the land has some other use. The land can be used for some other purpose. but the machine can be used only to produce the SIM card, right? So if there is someone who is still interested to produce SIM card, he can come to you and ask to just sell it, then you can sell it out. But otherwise, this is just a scrap. Factory shed can be used for some other purpose. Some other production can be done under this shed. Labor can be used for some other purpose. Capital can be used for some other purpose. But what about this particular machine? It can produce only the SIM card, nothing else. So this is sunk cost. Once you purchased it, you have done. There is no return. No sellable value actually.
Okay, ma'am.
আর কি কেউ কিছু জিজ্ঞাসা করবে?
Ma'am, what is the law of variable proportion?
Law of variable proportion. This is here. কোথায় গেল? Totally. Just a minute. Oh no, this is physical written. Variable proportion means if the, just a minute. Yes. Law of variable proportion means when you are changing the input, how your output is changing. Initially it is increasing, then after it comes to the maximum and then it is falling. So this is the law of variable proportion.
Ma'am, can you
Bolo.
once explain the ridge line?
Ridge line, the line along which either MPL is equal to 0 or MPK is equal to 0. There are two ridge lines. Along the lower ridge line, your MPL is 0, and along the upper ridge line, your MPK is 0. Along this lower ridge line, your MPL is 0. This is the point where MPL is 0. Then after MPL is negative, and before this line, MPL is positive. Okay, and this is the line where MPK is 0. Below this line, MPK is positive. Above this line, MPK is negative. So either MPL is 0 or MPK is 0. It is differentiating economic zone from the non-economic zone of production.
Okay, ma'am.
Almost all the classes are available in college LMS. So after 1 month or after 2 or 3 weeks, just go through it, and that will be a sort of revision. If you are going to revise after 2 or 3 months, there may be something which you cannot remember. But if you are revising after 2 to 3 weeks, it will be a good one for your exam preparation. So this is the long run cost. Long run, all the factors are variable. So the cost of all the factors of production. So as there are only two factors, labor and capital, so cost for labor and capital are included under the long run cost. So here comes the ISO cost. ISO cost is very similar to our budget line. The slope is minus W by R. And this is the cost minimization, because any rational producer is interested to minimize the cost. So here comes the cost minimization. There are three cost curves. There are three ISO cost lines and one ISO quant. So given the production level, what is the minimum cost? That will be the E. So L star and K star, that should be employed to get the minimum cost to produce that certain amount of output level. So what is the equilibrium condition? You can see the slope of ISO quant is equal to slope of ISO cost. So here comes minus W by R is equal to minus MPL by MPK, or M at Ts is equal to W by R. Or you can explain according to your question. It may be MPL by L, MPL by W is equal to MPK by R. That may be the equilibrium. You are just arranging it from left to right. So mathematical derivation, this is a simple Lagrangian equation, and this is how you are getting, and then this is the cost function. The cost function and cost equation, these are different. Cost equation means just C is equal to WL plus RK. And cost function means the minimum, if the optimum value of the cost, that is C is equal to WL star plus RK star. That is the cost function. And if you put those values and making some differentiation and everything, then you can find the implication of lambda, that will be the long run marginal cost. If you can remember, in case of the Lagrangian differentiation of consumer behavior, the significance of lambda was marginal utility of money. And here it is long run marginal cost. Okay. Now this is some problem that we derive. The slope of isoquant. Given that problem, we solved it. And the derivation of the cost function, if it is a fixed coefficient production function, so from there you can find L star and K star. If you put those values, you will get this cost function. And once you have the cost function, you can find the value of LSC, LMC, everything. You know C. So from there you can find all those values. But here you cannot find the fixed cost, as it is the long run. So there is no fixed cost. So you have LSC, from there you will have LMC, and this is the relation between LSC and LMC as before. This is another new concept, functional coefficient. Functional coefficient is something related to the returns to scale. When you are changing all inputs by a certain proportion, how much your output will change is the functional coefficient. So if this value is greater than 1, then it is IRS. If it is equal to 1, then it is CRS. If less than 1, DRS. And here comes the relationship. Functional coefficient, this is something very much mathematical. The relation between the functional relationship LSC and LMC. And from there, we derive the relation between the LSC and returns to scale. As I said in my last class, yesterday's class, that this is another way to show the relation between the returns to scale and the shape of LSC. So this is your LSC. Expansion path, I derived the expansion path. When you are changing your total cost, all the cost minimizing equilibrium points are on the expansion path. So if you join all the cost minimizing equilibrium points, you will get your expansion path. Okay. Now what is isocline? Isocline is just the locus of the combination of labor and capital such that MRPT is constant. So this is another question. Expansion path for the fixed coefficient production function. As usual, straight line. Expansion path and the cost curve. This is as I was trying to explain, that if once you have the expansion path, along the expansion path, each and every point is showing for a given cost what is the output level. So if you plot this cost on the vertical axis and output level on the horizontal axis, you can get your total cost curve. So this is how you can get the total cost curve from the expansion path. And this is the relation. This is a very popular diagram in that sense. It is the envelope curve diagram, you can say, the relation between LRAC and SRAC. And never say that SRAC is below LRAC. It is not possible. Huh? SRAC is always above of the, at least above of the LRAC. Maximum it will be tangent, but not below LRAC. It is not possible. LMC? I didn't derive LMC. Yes, I derived. Maybe in some other, I may have it, the snapshot from the Pindac, and that is how I explained it. The different derivation of the LMC, na? Let me check. Okay. I'm checking the derivation of LMC. So you just tell me what is your problem from cost. Do you have any problem from cost? Narisa, you are joining now. If you have any problem from the cost section or production section, now you can ask me. Do you have any problem? No problem. No, everyone is sleeping. They are very tired because you are attending class from 11:30. Just under cost curves. I cannot find. Can you tell me whether I have discussed the derivation of LMC curve? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am. LMC, na?
No. LMC, long run marginal cost. The derivation
ma'am.
of long run marginal cost.
You have discussed through that diagram. I have asked question over that. I remember that.
Yes, it is from the Pindac. The diagram is beautifully there in Pindac. So from there you can get it. Yes. If you have any question, you can ask me on LMS as well. For the time being, I cannot find that file, but definitely I discussed it because I can remember. And still, if you have any problem, you can ask me. বলো কার কি সমস্যা আছে from production and cost? From the next month, I will have only one class with you per week. So there I will start the last unit of our syllabus, that is the input market and the perfect competition. Huh?